an organization that's a part of our United States Green Building Council Missouri Gateway chapter. So my name is Tracy Jansen. I'm the chairperson for the Green Schools Quest in the St. Louis area, and Hope is our amazing coordinator as well, who's has designed this program with collaboration from the committee for providing for opportunities in nurturing our space in the local St. Louis region. So this experience tonight is a little bit different than last year's Connect on the Quest. What we've done through feedback from the participants in the quest over this past school year, in the 2020 to 2021 school year, was we realized that we really want to provide for connections between the individuals participating in the quest, as well as receiving some resources within the local region for developing further projects for their organizations. I want to thank our mentors for being a part of the presentation this evening, as well as our Green Schools Quest participants. And we have a full agenda provided for our Green Schools Quest project updates from Crestwood Elementary as well as Ladue. And we're going to have resource presentations from Litzsinger Road Ecology Center and Bob Coulter, from Angie Weber with Community Resource Specialists with Missouri Department of Conservation and Shaw Nature Reserve, as well as Seed St. Louis. And then we also want to say thank you to Jen Rose for moderating for us this evening. She'll be providing for answering questions that are in the chat or providing further information as needed based upon the discussions shared this evening. So we'll go ahead and get started to begin with Ledoux Middle School and Christine Earnhardt presenting for the Green Schools Quest project update. Thank you.
Okay, so let me share my screen here. Okay, so what I did was, since we're doing the monthly challenges this year, and so I've got just the two that we've done so far and just a few of the things. So this is our first time participating. And in October, we did an Eat Local challenge. And then November, I had the kids create a bee flyer for their neighborhoods. So there are about 110 seventh graders participating in this. We are doing it monthly, and students between the first and the second one have definitely made some of those connections. So that's kind of nice to see kind of a continuation from one month to the next. And seventh grade at my school is all biology. So it is something that we kind of talk in different threads throughout the school year. So I just want to share just a couple examples. I have a few up here. So this was an example here, and they were just trying to find something a little more local. And it was funny because they're so far removed from their food that they have a difficult time really kind of understanding where their food comes from, and where, from a farmer's market, it just doesn't come there. Where does it come from before then? So we talked about benefits and practices and why they would choose that farm. Let me get another one. So I had them kind of look at things, and they were able to choose kind of what kind of food that they were doing. I wanted them to include a map so they can kind of see locality and, generally the benefits of local businesses. So the second quest that we did, is what I kind of called it, is we're getting in, and it kind of works very nicely with our curriculum. We're getting into reproduction next, and we always start with flower reproduction and kind of talk about the importance of pollinators. So what they did was, I have a couple examples. Some of my kids are finished, and just telling, why are bees important, what would happen if we didn't have them, and what are some things that you can do to help bees. So these were just a couple of the examples of what kids did. So with these, I'm having no more than 2 kids work together, and they're so creative, and they're gonna print these out, and we're gonna actually put them around school just to kind of get the word out about that. So we had some wanting to do it on paper and some digital. So that's pretty much. Elizabeth, did you want to?
Oh, I'm good. We just have
Okay.
the questions there, but I know we have some questions for the group in terms of helping the students when it comes to what are the best native pollinator plants. How many varieties of native pollinator plants exist? Is there a recommended plant to start with when you're starting with a school, taking into consideration summer breaks and breaks, so watering primarily? Is there a local school or a Missouri school that anyone knows about that has a beehive on campus? We'd like to get some more information on that. Do goats eat honeysuckle or they just eat grass? And is anyone aware of ways that 7th graders and or any child can help remove honeysuckle that is safe, given that there's a chemical aspect to the removal of the honeysuckle plant? So those are our questions that we have for those that are presenting after we get done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you both for sharing so much. And I'm excited. I was going to type it away, but I'll add it on there. There's a lot of schools, actually 2 in Kirkwood where I teach, that have bees on campus, and would love to see more add to the discussion as well. So feel free to chime on in with the chat. Well, thank you so much, Ladue. Our next presenter is Crestwood Elementary School, also providing a Green Schools Quest update. And Karen, if you're ready to go,
yeah.
share.
Okay. Hello, everybody. So I'm Karen Lenning. I am the Green School leader or lead. So I'm a teacher at Crestwood Elementary in Lindbergh School District, and I'm going to share my screen here in a second. So we have a club again this year. This is our 3rd year having a club, and our mentor is Jacqueline Jezik, and she's coming a little late. I'm not sure if she's here yet. So the kids went ahead and named themselves last year the Planet Protector Squad, and we meet every week. So we meet every Thursday. We didn't meet this last Thursday because of the holiday, but we've had quite a few meetings, and we have 32 children, I think, in our club. 2 are unofficial because we did 2nd grade through 5th grade. And we have had a sub meeting. So we have the 5th graders and 4th graders. We're having them kind of take the lead during some of the meetings where they'll kind of be in charge of their table and kind of doing the secretarial and the mediator slash kind of group team leader. So to get started, let's go ahead. So we are also doing the monthly themes, the sustainability themes, and so importance of place. We did quite a few activities with that. The first one we did, let me share this a little better. Hold on one second. What am I doing? View. Okay, so we talked about characteristics of Missouri, and so we got chart paper, and we put it on a few different tables, and we wrote the words structures, vegetation. Hold on, I can't read it because of this little bar. I don't know how to move that. Hold on one second. Let me move it to the top. Okay, I haven't done Zoom in a couple of days. Okay, not a couple days. Last year I taught through Zoom. This year I don't. Okay. So we did structures, we did landforms and features, vegetation, climate, and people or cultures. And the kids had a field day just kind of drawing and thinking of structures that are unique to St. Louis. We talked about landforms, and something that all the kids were so excited about was the creek cleanup. So this directly tied into the creek that runs along Crestwood Elementary. So I'm going to go ahead and open Facebook so we can see some of those pictures. We had quite a few families. Okay, wait, how do I stop? Wait, I got to get out of this. Okay. We had quite a few families participate. So it was a families were included event. So siblings were there too. And they were just so excited. We handed out pinchers and gloves, and the kids, we had, Jacqueline, are you here yet? Okay, she will know how much trash we collected. She counted the bags at the end. So luckily we did the same event last year and we had significantly more trash. So we're seeing less and less, but we talked about where the trash is coming from. So where the creek, we believe it's kind of by that Walmart complex. We think that some of it's kind of, we found quite a few Walmart bags. And we found a majority of what we're collecting is plastic, a lot of plastic waste, a lot of styrofoam. So the kids really, we kind of looked at what kinds of things. We debriefed the next meeting and shared with the rest of the kids that didn't attend, what things were recyclable that we saw and what things weren't, and how we can change. So we found also a lot of wrappers. So a lot of like chips wrappers, candy wrappers. And this was before Halloween. So I'm sure there's a lot more candy wrappers now that Halloween's over. So I'm sorry, I'm not showing you all the pictures. It's like I can't talk and hold on. I can't talk and share at the same time. So
It's the end of the day.
There's all the plastic bags. We found so much plastic. So there's just some more pictures. We had the little pinchers. So there you go. So there was our first little mission, was to clean up the creek. And then next we talked about wrappers. And so Jacqueline found someone who, it's called Trick or Trash. So if you see right here, we went ahead and collected, the kids all brought in their wrappers, and then we shared with the school. We announced it during announcements. We also had a little challenge for the kids. So during Trunk or Treat, we had a booth, and we had kids working the booth, sharing with kids. They walked around with the box trying to collect wrappers. And we had a little trivia question, and they could win candy if they could figure out how many pounds of trash Americans buy for Halloween. And it was, Jacqueline gave a hint. Jacqueline, are you here yet?
I am. I'm here.
Oh, good. Okay, good. I only see so many people. How much was it? How much do Americans buy?
600 million pounds of candy during Halloween.
Yeah. So we went ahead and announced that, and we just encourage, we encourage people to, I wish there were more people that recycled these wrappers, but we were excited to be able to recycle at least the amount that we collected. And then our third big project was our pumpkin smash. So this was our first time doing it. So let me find, Jacqueline made a nice little flyer. Wait, I'm going back too far. Hold on. That was our most recent activity. So she made a fun flyer, and then here we have kids. So the school, we had the opportunity, we had bins at the school so everyone could drop their pumpkins, and we went ahead and smashed them. And then Jacqueline will tell you a little bit more about that, because I can't remember where we took, I went to it. Go ahead.
We gathered about 54 pumpkins, I think, from the community. And then we had to get smashed in to start the composting process. And we dropped them off at STL composting. One of the families took them, but it was fun. Even some of the parents took part in it, throwing them and hitting them midair, whatnot. There I am. It's a good little aggression if you need to get it
out. Let me see if there's any more. So yeah, they really got a kick out of it. So let's go back now to the last, I don't know how many minutes I have. I'll try to wrap this up. So we talked about one of the meetings, we had the kids have Post-its with different resources and different things like pumpkins and lead and oranges. We actually had the whole world map. We had a world map. And so they had the opportunity to place, all the kids got different Post-its and post post, and we talked about how Missouri, obviously we have lead mines, but then we talked about how pumpkins, Jacqueline, what was the statistics on the amount of pumpkins that come out of Illinois?
Oh, I think Illinois is the #1 pumpkin producer in the world, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's like 41%, maybe it's in the 40s of pumpkin production. So we talked about possibly going to a pumpkin patch in Illinois to get your pumpkins to support local. So there you go. I think, is that good? Are we good on time?
Yeah, that actually kind of wraps us up in time. That was amazing. What incredible projects you've had underway since school year started. Holy cow.
Okay, I don't know how to stop sharing. Hold on. Did I stop sharing?
You did it yet.
Okay.
I will say for that trick or trash, if any schools want to participate in it next year, it's a free program. You just email them and they'll send you the box. And then we sent it back. I believe they work with TerraCycle. It was the National Wildlife Federation that paired up with Rubicon. And then we just got to give, we got a certificate that the Arbor Day Foundation plants a tree in your school's honor because you participated in it.
That's incredible. I'm like taking notes on all of this, like, because we do trunk or treat, and this is a great avenue for just engaging the community, realize how they have choices and what can be happening with their waste. So thank you all for sharing it. That's amazing. So we have a few more that have joined in. We are now at this time to talk, sharing out the resources in our community for nurturing our space. And our first presenter for this time is from Litzsinger Road Ecology Center, Mr. Bob Coulter. There we go. We see the presentation. Thank you. And then just want to have volume up. There we go.
Unmute. Okay. So Bob Coulter, director of Litzsinger Road Ecology Center. First part of my career, I was an elementary teacher for 12 years in public and private schools, and been with the garden since '98. And what I took was a 1-year transitional job that's turned into 23. So life takes interesting turns. What I'm hoping to share in the next few minutes is just kind of a quick overview of what Litzsinger is and isn't. We're kind of an odd critter in the St. Louis region. So just to help you understand what we do, and mostly as an invitation to a conversation, if Litzsinger can help you advance your Green School Quest goals. We are about 38 acres in Ladue. We're managed by the garden, but we're owned by a private foundation, funded by a private foundation. And it's about 10 acres of prairie. Most of the rest is bottomland forest. Deer Creek runs through it. So it gives 3 distinct habitats for student research. So for example, the earlier presentation about the pollinators, be great to come out to Litzsinger and hunt for pollinators. That kind of connection. So again, overarching idea here is an invitation to conversations to help you with your Green School Quest program. But overall, Litzsinger is set up around partnerships, whether it's the school programs we're talking about today, but we run a graduate program with Miami University. We have ecological research with most of the universities in the St. Louis area. So it is that more sustained partnership that working with you, and teachers we work with have a dedicated staff contact as their sounding board, mentor, whatever is appropriate for that sort of thing. But because everything is customized, we don't have, like this one program to sign up for. It's really something that you and your staff contact work out. Please bring your shared window to the front. That's still moving okay?
We just see one image, Bob.
Yeah.
Yes,
So switched over to the John Dewey quote.
it has not.
Interesting. Sharing is paused. Bring your shared window to the front. How does one do that? I've never been not in the front here.
Perhaps, do you want
Interesting.
to stop share and then start again?
Yeah, let's stop share and let's reshare. And Zoom is sitting in the front here, which is interesting. Fascinating. You are screen sharing.
We can
Hi,
see,
Zoom.
yeah, we can see your PowerPoint now.
Okay, let's see if
With-
Zoom's in the back now. So slide moving.
Not yet. We see just that one, and then we can also see a little preview of the others along the side.
Interesting. So that's sharing, but when I go to share screen, it doesn't. I mean, when I go to the actual slideshow. Interesting. Let's not burn time on that. Why don't we, this good enough for now?
Yeah, that's fine. And then you can just,
Yeah,
I think
let's
tap
not
those down on the left.
odds here. So anyways, again, Litzsinger, this is the entry, again, woodlands, prairie, Deer Creek is behind these trees that are actually no longer there because the entire right side of this image is an MSD construction site. Thank you, Project Clear. But again, the site is there for partnerships. We're able to go out in the community and support your work as well. So next few minutes, just kind of what some of the big ideas of what Litzsinger is funded to do and how that might align with your projects. Oh, this is fun. Are you now getting a Zoom thing in front of what I'm trying to share? Because Zoom's taken over for me.
We're not,
Okay,
Perhaps clicking on the slides,
I'm sorry.
perhaps clicking on the slides on the left.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah, Zoom keeps jumping in front, unfortunately, and I can't get it to get out of the way. If I try to hide Zoom, it, well, whatever. Anyways, moving right along. This is the ignore the distractions, move on. Big idea here is, you know, the underlying idea why we get up in the morning, why we go to work, is echoed in John Dewey's quote here about the worth of an institution being its effect on enlarging and improving experience. This picture of Dylan, a great kid we worked with, and it's kind of iconic of what we do, this kid who's literally wrapped in corporate media logos. And something grabbed his attention, and something really caught his eye about nature, and tuned in, getting out of that standard suburban kid and getting wrapped up in nature. And again, echoing the idea of enlarging and improving experience. And particularly the school experience, because all too often school is like this, where it's a, oh my God, kind of experience. And again, working with teachers to create more positive experiences for kids and more positive experiences for teaching too, because left to itself, so many schools are pushing teachers to basically be technicians to fulfill the curriculum and get a good test score and move on. So it's really teacher experience and kid experience. What do we mean by experience? Again, a very John Dewey approach. It's not what we do to somebody, but setting up an opportunity for somebody to do something and process it, think about it, reflect on it. And over time, growth, you do better with future experiences, build habits that help you engage with the world better and become citizens in a way more than just voting and paying your taxes. So, you know, deep John Dewey roots in our programming. With that, I'm sure Tracy can appreciate this. There's so much pressure in schools to take all the complex stuff and ram it down to the primary grades. And we try to echo Mitch Resnick's argument that a lot of the good stuff is actually in kindergarten. And the idea is, how do we get kindergarten to go up into the upper grades and not lose the focus that the younger grades have on projects, passion, peers, and play? So those are some hallmarks of the programs that we do. What does it look like when we do programs? Examples, St. Michael's School in Clayton, every year they have a school-wide theme. A few years ago, their theme was home. And so they made bee homes. And so we worked with them. They came out, learned about bees as pollinators and such, habitat. They worked at school to build bee homes in their shop class. I think they call it studio. And then they donated 3 of their bee homes to us. And so we worked with them to figure out the optimal places on the grounds at Litzsinger to hang their homes. And so it made a nice cycle from what they learned about pollinators, what they learned about building bee homes, where do we position it to get the best ecological positioning, and really bringing the whole thing together in ways that standard curriculum doesn't allow for, which I think echoes the kind of work that Green Schools Quest and other similar programs are after. Another one in that, Kirk Christian out in West County, they wanted to build a native plant garden. And so we just fed them field guides, helped them look at their site opportunities, where is it sunny, where is it not sunny, what kind of plants. They picked their plants, we gave them some feedback. You might want to think about this, but really let them own the garden process. And then we went out and helped them plant it and care for it. So it's that sustained work that, in the project's passion, peers and play, giving them deep experience in that. A lot of people, what are they learning? What are they learning? And so for that, those of us that have been doing the teaching long enough know there's a lot of great learning when you get kids in that, even though if it doesn't reduce to 1045, they're doing standard 3A sub 2 kind of thing. I happen to like this learning power approach. Guy Claxon, he's a British educational psychologist, been working on for a couple of decades. But these 8 factors or 8 dimensions that he's put in his current framing, I think resonate with the kind of work that we saw being shared earlier this afternoon and the kind of thing that you want in your classroom. Get great opportunities to learn in that, but this helps to stay focused on the bigger pieces and not stay down in things that are quite so atomistic. If all that resonates, then okay, then what's this look like? How do we make it happen? What animates it? And so how do we make a plan working forward, and the kind of work that you'd be doing with us, thinking about what could you do at Litzsinger? What can we help you do at your school or in the community? That's where the discussion begins, and that's the discussion I'm inviting you all to undertake with us if it matches what you're after. One of our underlying ideas is actually a German idea. There's no English translation to Bildung, I'm sorry. It's about roughly growth or development, but this quote here captures, I think, what we're after around, we want kids to be independent in their mind and spirit, but rooted in both the ecology and the social context that they're in. This was a project that we supported with kids putting in raised bed gardens in what used to be a service station, a gas station in the Shaw neighborhood, just down the street from the garden's main campus. But that's, again, the kind of sustained partnership around ecology that we're set up to support. So again, this was right down the street from the garden. Maya there is kind of walking around, making sure all the boys are getting their work done. Garden people, that's Matthew Albrecht's daughter, as a side note. But that's what we're after, is this independence that's anchored, for good free thinkers, but that are committed to the local ecology and to the community. And then building on that, what does Bildung look like, building that growth? Start with a base of knowledge and skills. This is stuff that you're accountable for as a teacher. But above that, what these authors, Teke and Paulson, describe as attitude. How do I engage with the world? Curiosity, inquiry, grit, that was the big buzzword a couple of years ago. But how do I engage with the world? I'm not this passive vessel sitting in my chair filling out forms, taking tests kind of thing, but how do I really engage with the world? And the existential piece, who am I? I'm building an identity, whether I'm a 6-year-old or a 6th grader or a senior. Who am I? And again, how do I engage with the world? How do I make a difference? Because after all, love this quote from a mystery novel, but it's only grown-ups who want to be children. Children themselves always want to be real people. And that's the kind of work that we're trying to support. And so here was a project we're doing with UCity. UCity schools are very tough to do stuff on the grounds because every one of their schools is attached to a city park. That's their playground. So they really don't have the control of the grounds that most schools have. And even most of the schools out in front is controlled by UCity and Bloom. So make lemonade when you have the lemons. This was a container garden we were working on with them. again, it's the kind of thing that grows out of partnerships. Here was, come on slides, you can do this. Nah. This was a native plant garden that we worked with the Elliott Chapel Youth Group, 5th and 6th graders. They built a native plant garden. The starting process wasn't, oh, we're gonna do a native plant garden, but where on the church grounds could they make a project that fulfilled one of the core principles of the UU tradition is respecting the interdependent web of life. How could they do a project that engaged with that? They came up with this native plant garden. They designed it, created it. We worked with them to get it in the grounds. And so it was a nice project. And this reflects what David Hansen, who's written quite a bit about vocation, mostly around teachers' vocation, but this inner urge to serve and practical intelligence to bring that feeling to life. So it's not just rah, rah, cheer for the environment, but also giving them the perspectives, the ideas, the tools to actually implement something significant, which again, I think echoes with a lot of the values for the Green Schools Quest. So wrapping all this up, why do we do it? We need more kids that are great kids and helping them grow toward adult citizenship. Griffin and Gavin here, some kids we worked with several years ago, those kids will not fit in that log anymore by a long shot. But all of these programs wrapped around helping teachers and kids see possibilities, connect with each other, connect with nature, and transform the way they engage with the world. And so, if this works for you, if it intrigues, let's have a conversation. I'll put my contact in the chat and look forward to talking with you. Okay.
Yes, Bob, thank you so much. And thank you for sharing all the opportunities available to our St. Louis community for engaging the children with Litzsinger Road Ecology Center, as well as the staff. It's an incredible place to be, and it is pure wonder, imagination, and joy every single time you're there. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next presenter for resources for this evening and our theme of nurturing our space is Angie Weber, who's also a part of our Green Schools Quest committee. Angie is a community resource specialist supporting Missouri Department of Conservation and Shaw Nature Reserve. So Angie, the floor is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to try to share my screen.
Do I need to stop sharing?
Here.
You're all set, Bob.
Possibly.
And Angie, you should be, yes, we can see your screen now.
Can you see a document that I have up that says Outdoor Classroom Design Concepts?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. I'm pleased to be here this evening to share a little bit about the work that I do. So I am in a cooperative partnership with the Missouri Department of Conservation and Shaw Nature Reserve. And that's a division of the Missouri Botanical Garden. And it really focuses on working with community organizations and providing the resources that they need to plan, to install and steward native landscapes. Native landscapes can be anything like a pollinator garden. So that can touch upon some of the projects and program ideas that are occurring through the Green Schools Quest, where we actually go and we'll plan and install a pollinator garden on a school campus. And it can also include rain gardens. It could be a small pocket prairie. Native landscape is kind of a broad term that we use to create those native natural spaces and connect different groups, not only schools, but also like churches. I work with municipalities and parks department and help all of those entities just be more sustainable and connect people to nature. So I thought the best way to kind of share the type of resources that I can provide to schools through the Green Schools Quest is to show a document that I put together. This is kind of a template that I've started to use over the last year or so that kind of compiles all of the different information and resources that I talk to schools about and how I present that information to them. So I am going to just kind of quickly scroll through this document. My conversation with the school also usually involves scheduling a site visit with them. It's much more helpful for me to get a better idea of how an outdoor classroom should look, or that would usually include a native landscape if I see the space. Oftentimes they might have an idea of what something will look like, but that changes once I talk to them and I I might refine their idea, or I might find a better location on the campus that's maybe better suited for kind of what they're looking for. And oftentimes when we walk through the school campus, there's other different ideas that I'll see that I'll mention to them. And I usually will identify it on like an aerial photo as just potential project locations. And we also often talk through like what's their highest priority, what's the easiest thing for them to do right now, what are some opportunities that they can do later. And that is often dependent upon grant funding or partner support or just whatever other resources they can pull together. For the Green Schools Quest, for example, it might be hard for them to execute all of the different things that were identified in this site visit. But for this particular project, we focused on this, I don't know if you can see my pointer, but this little courtyard pollinator garden was something, and this school didn't go through the Green Schools Quest in this year that I put this together, but that was their priority, was this small pollinator garden. So that just kind of gives you an idea of kind of what this process would look like and the assistance that I can provide through this program. So then this document is very kind of conceptual. I just kind of identify different opportunities and I put together like general recommendations. And this was just kind of touching upon, okay, this is an area of the school where we think a little pollinator garden could go. This is the approximate size. These are kind of some of the features that we would put in, a little footpath. They wanted to install a bench. I think they had either a Boy Scout group or the PTA that had resources to do that. I talked them through kind of the process for that. I usually show a picture of what it could look like. And then I've been using Grow Native as this is an amazing resource. It's a program of the Missouri Prairie Foundation. They have a lot of template pollinator garden plans already ready to go. They have them for the shade, for the sun. They have a rain garden plan. So I've been using these for kind of the smaller pollinator garden type projects and modifying it for the space. And this seems to be working out really well. And then I talked them through, they liked the idea of putting in a small prairie at the school. And we found a couple locations near the building where a small pocket prairie might be appropriate. And I just kind of, talked them through what size that would be, what it would kind of look like, why it's important, and gave them just a couple pictures of what an urban prairie would look like, and how it would reflect our native prairie. And that's where the Litzsinger Road Ecology Center is a great resource that we have, since you can go see a native prairie type habitat here in St. Louis to learn more about how you could recreate something like that on your school campus. So then one thing that I talked to them about was, this might be a little bit beyond the Green Schools Quest, or maybe it would relate to some projects, is these nature-based play spaces. And that was something they were interested in on their campus for the PE class to use. And I don't know quite as much about this specific feature. Mia might actually, I don't know if Leslie knows anything more about it, and some of the other educators on the call might, but I am familiar enough to talk to them about it and to kind of show them what a feature like that would look like. They also have honeysuckle on their campus, so I talked to them a little bit about the process to remove it and what the area would look like once that invasive species was removed. And I will mention, since Christine was talking about honeysuckle as part of the Ladue, or maybe I'm sorry, it was Crestwood Elementary School that was talking about, wasn't it? Or was it Ladue? Now I'm getting my schools confused. Was it Ladue?
Yeah, Ladue was speaking
Okay.
about its importance.
Okay.
And then it was speaking about their cleanup.
So I have worked with schools to remove honeysuckle. I'm going to throw this out there real quick. The Open Space Council is actually a really awesome organization to work with. They have done work with a college school where they will go in with different school groups, and they have the tools. They'll encourage them to either hand pull or they use loppers to remove the honeysuckle, and they'll have like the skilled professionals come in after the fact to apply any herbicide that's needed. So they won't work with the students and apply the herbicide at the same time, which is a very safe way to do that. I have also worked with Oakville Middle School and done a honeysuckle removal project with them last April, where I borrowed the tools from the Open Space Council, and we only had me and I think one other teacher applying the herbicide. And it was actually, that was something else. What we did with those kids is we had them cut the honeysuckle high. And then we went back after the fact, and AmeriCorps crew came in and they cut the stumps low and then applied the herbicide. I think I did have a little bit of herbicide on hand for a few certain situations, but we kept it very much separate from the students, and that was not something that they were applying. So that's kind of how you could handle student-led projects. And that's all something that I can talk the school through also. I don't do as much invasive species removal type work directly with schools, but I'm able to put them in touch with the organizations that can help with that and provide some recommendations for that as well. This document also, I'll kind of talk through how to sign the project. What would you want your sign to look like? What type of information do you want in the sign? And there's also different certification programs. So I'll talk about like the Xerces Society how you can obtain pre-made signs is through like the Xerces Society and Wild Ones and the Missouri Prairie Foundation. And then I'll also talk to them about certifying the habitat either through the Monarch Watch Way Station program or the National Wildlife Federation schoolyard habitat. And then I need to also add to this, I'm realizing, is the Bring Conservation Home program through the St. Louis Audubon Society. And then I also share with them different opportunities, different resources, different partners and ways that they can fund their project. So Ameren has different grant opportunities if you have a power line that runs through your property. So some of these grant opportunities may or may not apply to that specific school or campus that I'm working with. But it just lists potential opportunities that they could explore. Forest Relief of Missouri is always a great partner because of the free trees that they can provide to different projects. I list the Missouri Botanical Garden, different programs that and efforts and initiative that all have resources to work with school groups. The Missouri Department of Conservation also has grant funding through several different funding mechanisms. They also have a great curriculum program through the Discover Nature Schools program. I reference the Missouri Environmental Education Association and Grow Native, the Monarch Watch programs, what's available through the National Wildlife Federation. If they are not involved in the Green Schools Quest, I try to mention that to them as well, in addition to what Wild Ones offers. So this is just kind of in a nutshell, like all the different things I try to talk to a school about and share with them, resources that they might need to help plan and install their project and get volunteers involved. And then I'm going to share one more thing.
You know, Angie, I think we're going to have to cut it short right here. But
that's fine.
In order for, this is such great information. I mean, and such an amazing service that's provided for schools, and it's free. And do you want to go ahead and put your contact info in the chat as well? And then for any schools that are interested in working with Angie, please, reach out. As you can see, she's a phenomenal resource for you. And I know I wish we had more time tonight.
Oh, that's right, no worries.
But thank you so much. And Tracy, I'm going to turn it back over to you to introduce our next speaker.
Yes, again, and thank you as well. I just want to echo Angie, that was awesome, and so much and knowledge that you can share, and just looking at moving away from just those grass landscapes and really making it a native opportunity for learning for our kids with natural grown plants of all varieties is an incredible opportunity, and you're an amazing resource, and looking forward for our schools to connect with you soon. Thank you. Our next presenter is from Seed St. Louis. It is Tanya Shearer, if she would like to go ahead and speak. Seed St. Louis is formerly known as Gateway Greening. I have benefited personally from them with their sweet potato slips and more. We just harvested our incredible crop and had our largest one of 2.1 pounds of a sweet potato 9 inches long. So Tanya, if you want to go ahead and share about your program and the amazing resources also for our St. Louis area community.
Thank you. That's exciting. I know. I think this week is the deadline for the sweet potato contest, so we'll see who wins. So thank you for the introduction. Also, Angie, I love your resources. I just talked to Mosaic School and Scott Clark, I think. He told me I need to talk to you because we have schools all the time that are looking for advice with natives and things like that. So I'll probably be connecting with you soon. But I know I don't have much time, so I'll just get started. If you don't know about us, we are Seed St. Louis is formerly Gateway Greening, so we just recently changed our name, but we haven't really changed what we do. So you might find our website, we still have our old website with Gateway Greening. So if you try to find some of these resources right now, it's a little messy, but you can look Gateway Greening or Seed St. Louis, and hopefully you can find all of these, or you can just reach out to me. So just a little bit about us. We've been around for since 1984. We've kind of changed over the years and shifted. We used to do a lot more ornamentals, but now our focus is primarily growing food. So basically, you can see this map over here. This map you can also find on our website. Shows all of the gardens that are in our network. So the blue, you can actually, if you want to find some schools that are in our network, maybe you can reach out to a community or a school garden to get some advice, you can go to this map and you can kind of filter through. So all the blue icons indicate schools that have gardens in our network. The green are community gardens. And then we also have an orchard program. So the red show different school and community orchards in our program. So maybe your school is already in our network, which is great. But if you're not, and you either would like to start a garden, or you maybe have a garden already and you just want to join our network to get some perks, I'm going to kind of talk about quickly what that looks like. So let's see. Basically, our school program, right now we have over 90 schools or youth gardens that are part of our school program. That also includes orchards. So we do currently only provide our network services to schools that are in St. Louis County, city, or parts of southern, or the Metro East in Illinois. We're hoping to expand a little more in Illinois, but right now that's the region that we will provide resources to, but really anyone from anywhere can access our free resources. So I'll talk a little bit about both. So one of our free resources, I'm going to skip around here, includes our Seed to STEM curriculum. So if you can access this from our website. I can also email it to you. We currently consist of, I believe, 4 units, and then we have a 5th that's kind of targeted just for like pre-K. But the 4 units are either it's kindergarten through 2nd, and then we have half of that is 3rd through 5th. And these are units that you can do that are aligned with the next generation science standards, and you can use these in your garden. But we kind of also wrote them that they can really be used in any green space. So you don't necessarily have to have a vegetable garden for these. So that's a free resource to everyone. Also, our workshops and our teacher meetups are another free resource. So we host, I generally kind of host these more during the growing season, but if you want to connect with other gardeners in the area, then I like to host meetups. So we used to do these in person. I just did my first one back in person, but switched back to virtual once it got a little colder. So I'm hoping that in the spring we'll be able to go back to doing these in person. And basically, we just host these each month at a different school garden. So that way it gives a chance for gardeners to come see other school gardens. I usually have kind of a focused topic for that meetup. So like for November, we talked about how to winterize your garden and activities you can do over winter to connect to the garden. So just kind of just a very informal networking event. I've also done them virtually, so you can look for those on Eventbrite. If you're not on our email list, I would recommend you get on that, so that way you can get information on when we have these. We also do free classes. So hopefully, again, we can get back to doing these in person soon. I prefer to do them in person, but generally when we do them virtually, we do record them and put them up temporarily on YouTube. So you can also access a lot of our classes on YouTube right now. So these are some of our free resources. We also have open to the public. You can buy very cheap discounted seeds and seedlings from us through our website. We are doing where we kind of coordinate a pickup date. So you can't necessarily just go to a store right now and buy them. We will hopefully, when we move locations, have kind of a little store where you can come and pick those up. But right now, if you go to our website, you can place an order and then we will let you know like when the next available pickup date is. And you come to our carriage house on Bell Avenue, just north of Grand Center, to pick those up. But I really want to focus on kind of the network resources. So these are a lot of the perks you get from going through our process, and it's at no cost to you. It just takes some time and effort. So basically, if you want to join our network, you would start by filling out this project interest form. And it's on our website. very basic, just asks kind of who the project leaders would be. And then contact information, kind of what your general idea of your project you're wanting to work on or you currently have consists of, and then you would just select an orientation date. Oh, we do have the new ones up. So these, I believe right now will still be all virtual, but if you can't attend any of these dates, I'll coordinate with you and I can always do just like a one-off orientation. So that's the first step. And then the orientation kind of guides you through our process. So basically our process, very briefly, is 4 phases where we use asset-based community development. It involves, some paperwork, coming up with your long-term goals. And this is really where the sustainable part of it comes in, because we see a lot of schools that want to start gardens, but they don't necessarily think long-term. And we know, schools, people come and go. So it's not always that same core group that remains. So if we are going to award infrastructure and things like that, we want to at least hope that, there's a plan in place that this garden will be sustainable long-term. So we like that you have at least 10 people that make up your garden committee. We ask you to think about, water access. Are there any future plans for the land? How is it we ask for a kind of detailed maintenance plan? Because we know summers in schools is when gardens are thriving, but a lot of times there aren't folks around to maintain. And we can also offer lots of resources and ideas on how to keep the garden maintained over summer. So you get through that paperwork. And then once you get to the last 2 phases, we give you basically a list of items that you can get. So we award up to about $1,000 in garden infrastructure. We don't give any money, we just give infrastructure, but basically you'll get kind of like a little catalog that shows everything that we can give you. So that includes garden beds, soil, picnic tables, benches. We have outdoor classroom materials like clipboard sets and portable chalkboards. Arbors, things like that, that'll, tools, wheelbarrows, all that kind of stuff you have to choose from. And this also includes our orchard program. So if you wanted to get some pawpaw trees or, some different kinds of fruit trees, then you could also factor that in. So you kind of come up with your budget, what you would like to get from us. We review it, make sure, you have the adequate space to grow, if you want to put in fruit trees, things like that. And then the 4th phase is the fun part. That's when we set up the installation date. So that's when we will get with you and your volunteers and set up a day to come out and install your garden. So once all that's done, you're considered in our network. And some of the perks of being in our network, aside from getting that garden installed, includes you'll get, as a school, community gardens don't get this, but school and youth gardens will get free seeds and seedlings from us. So you get 10 free seed packs every season. So that would be 10 for spring, 10 for summer, and 10 for fall. So every growing season. You also get usually about $15 in free seedlings from us. It's more like 5 or 6 free packs. So it depends kind of how much those are based on the season. But you get, so you get a certain amount of free seedlings. And then if you want more, you can always get them at a very cheap discounted rate. You can also apply every year for an expansion. So an expansion would just be to continue building your garden. So if you just start with beds and then you realize the next year you want a compost bin, you can apply for an expansion and fill that out for compost bin. Maybe you want to add more beds. And it's kind of like the initial install where we would just set up then a day to kind of install those items. So we do offer 3 bin compost bins, which is also great for the Green Schools Quest. What else?
And Tanya,
yeah,
I
am I done?
Yeah, unfortunately,
So
I think we tried packing so many really good resources in tonight.
I know, there's so much. So I will go ahead and just,
Absolutely, we'll share out your info and
I'll drop it in the chat and then you can reach out to me and I can tell you anything else you want to know.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for your presentation and resources.
Yes, thank you. Give me just a minute and I'll stop sharing.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Tanya. Truly appreciate it. And Seed STL, an amazing resource for all of us in the community, and definitely explore, complete the Google form and getting your schools and staff involved. It'll be a great opportunity for all. And our last resource presentation for nurturing our space is coming from Leslie Moylan. She's the director of our Missouri Environmental Education Association and is going to be sharing with you our new searchable learning database and how it provides ongoing professional development opportunities to everyone across the beautiful state of Missouri. So Leslie, the floor is yours now.
Okay, I was trying to find the unmute button. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I will be really, really fast and share with you some of our resources, including the lesson resource database. But I just want to shout out to all the 3 organizations that already spoke, and especially Seed St. Louis has a near and dear place in my heart, because that's where I started on this circuitous journey that led me to being the director of MIA. So yeah, they like all 3 of these resources are just amazing. So please, we exist to help connect educators to resources like these and a lot of the resources I'll share with you tonight. So in the last year, about a year ago, we launched this new website. And then in the spring, we were able to launch a searchable database that is in its infancy, but it's a long held dream. So a couple of things I wanted to just point out to you, kind of based on what I heard tonight, some resources that might be of interest. If you're on our homepage, which is mea.org, meea.org, on this main navigation bar, you'll see educator resources. So one of the things that we do offer are 6 mini grants for educators. If you're a member of MIA, which is always a pay what you can membership, if you're a member, you're eligible for these $250 grants, which sometimes is just what you need to do that really cool project that you've been wanting to do. Another page I would love to share with you under this is our EE Top 5s, Environmental Ed Top 5s. And what this is just a compendium of different topics that we have compiled from our original resources, but ideas on starting lessons, doing citizen and community science, social and environmental justice, climate change education, and then some online learning resources. So this will change over time, but for right now, this is what it is. And I wanted to share with you 2 resources that, even though I came in after you all got finished talking about your quest projects, I think these might be of interest and overlap with at least a couple of them that were shared. These Missouri species profile sheets are truly amazing. They were created by our former director and founder of the organization, Jan Weaver. We have over a dozen native species that are documented on these sheets, and they include so much information packed in an 8.5 by 11 sheet. You've got a detailed, realistic drawing with information on the colors, if that are found in nature on these critters or plants. There's all kinds of phenology information, which is what happens throughout the year for this organism. There is, habitat distribution and habitat needs, who eats them, what they eat, all kinds of information. And then we even have a blank one so that you can, if you're out in your new pollinator garden, or if you spent some time in Litzsinger, maybe you want to bring a blank one of these and do your own observation, and then go back to the classroom and do some research on what animal or plant you found that struck your curiosity. So there's just a lot here, and that's all on under the educator resources page under the MIA Originals Top 5s. Another one, I heard there was a invasive honeysuckle removal project that's happening. We also have, where did it go? Oh, here it is. We worked last year with Kat Golden of the Earthways Center, and then Think About Tables, which is an art turned kind of activism group. And we've got this amazing mock trial unit where it basically combines ecology and civic engagement and gets kids thinking about the myriad complex questions involved in invasive plants. I'll just leave it at that. It's geared towards middle and high school, but if that intersects or might help you pull in a colleague that is interested more on the civics side, that would be a great resource for you. Another new page that we just got up, and so it's also in its infancy, is environmental justice issues throughout the state of Missouri. So we've got information on all the different areas of Missouri and environmental justice issues that those communities face, the unique challenges that those communities each face. we would love to get more information on this website on how to incorporate this into your classroom. So that's something that we will be doing in the coming months and years. And then we also have an events calendar, which is full of professional development opportunities. And then finally, under the Educator Resources tab, you will see the learning database. This is, we seeded it with 100 lessons, 100 lessons, and we are looking for some help to help us add more and more. We are really excited to do this, but you can search by Missouri Learning Standards and NGSS. You can search by grade level, time frame. Do you want something quick, or is this something you have multiple class periods for? Are you looking for, you know, a virtual lab? Are you looking for a field trip or a game? There's all kinds of different types of resources that we will provide through this. And then you can search through topic or keyword. So this is definitely still in its infancy. So if you have resources that you're really excited about and you think, well, this should be on MIA's website because everybody should know about this, we have a portal to share this out. So that is, I feel like I could say so much more about MIA. The last thing I will say is Missouri Green Schools, of course, is on our website. This is the program that we co-manage with USGBC. So hopefully we will share more about that at another one of these events. But for now, just suffice it to say, there's tons of resources on here. I am here to help educators. Our mission is to help educators inspire Missourians to care about, understand, and act for the environment. And I totally buy into that. And I am here for you. So if you're like, who was it that was on that meeting that, you know, was from Shaw Nature Reserve? I can't remember and I didn't write it down or I lost my note. Contact me or contact Hope. We really are here for you, and we can reconnect you with folks if you've forgotten who it was that talked about such and such. We would definitely love to help you in any way we can. So mia.org, and I can put my email address in the chat for you too.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Leslie. And I will share, like, the learning database is like my go-to, especially with being in midst of curriculum writing for science curriculum, K-5. It's incredible and such great organizational tool for us to utilize and incorporate into our own school districts. And hopefully they stay in Missouri someday for learning standards. So right. With that being said, what an amazing hour together. We're going a little bit over, but if anyone has questions or wonderings from this evening's presentation that you'd like to talk a little bit more about, you're welcome to stay after. As Hope shared, the meeting is recorded and will be available for further review. If you say, hey, there's a colleague I want to share this with, or I really gathered that, it's going to be available to you very, very soon. So thank you all for joining us this evening. We do have another opportunity coming up, though, to move into the next topic for our Green Schools Quest Connect on the Quest speaker series, and that is going to be focused upon air quality. So if you are intrigued by nurturing our space, we look forward to having you join us on December 14th for another experience and focused on air quality and resources in our community for engagement for our kids and our future. So take care, and wishing you all a wonderful December, and hopefully we'll see you again on December 14th. Again, stick around if